Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Michelle Moreus and I make art tutorials that are fun, easy, and accessible for everyone. Today we're going to be doing some juicy grapes in pastel. Before we get into the video, please subscribe to my channel, leave a comment below, and I will personally get back to each and every one of you. As always, I have drawn my grapes on a piece of tracing paper. Then I've covered the back with some soft white pastel. I've turned it over, gone over it with a pencil, and that has left the white outline that you see on the Pastelmat paper. This is a good way to transfer your image on a paper that you can't see through. It's a heavyweight Pastelmat paper. So now I'm going in with my PanPastels and my soft pastels to map in the background colors. At this stage in the game, I'm not putting in any details. I'm just trying to get the tonal changes and variations in the background so that we have a map of where we're going with the piece. So the trick to getting a blurry background is just less detail. It doesn't mean that you don't have to put in the representation of where things are in the background, but just to make it more blurry than the grapes up front, and this will give you depth in the piece. You still want to put in some detail, but they're just going to be more blurry. So you'll see I have mapped in my background grapes a little bit, and I will go in and refine those a little bit, but I'm still going to keep everything blurred out. That way the grapes in front will be the focal point of the piece. So I've got my background mapped in. Now I'm going in and I'm starting on each grape individually. And basically I'm just trying to get the color down on the paper, marking where the shadowy areas are, the darks and the lights, the values, trying to get those correct. And then we'll go back and we'll just push everything after this stage. So it's really important at this stage in the game, as you're getting a lot of color down and trying to represent where each grape is and the shadows, to blend in between each little layer. This way it's going to leave space or tooth of the paper to put in your details on top later on. So as I go in with each color, I'm blending in between, and this way when we go in with our final details, we'll have enough tooth for everything to stick to, that the dust isn't just going to be sitting on top of the paper. Everything is in there and intact. So you want to just make sure that as you're going along, you're taking it one little grape at a time, and this way you're not going to get lost in the piece itself. You're not going to be overwhelmed. If you take little bites at a time, it'll be a lot easier for you. Keep looking at your reference image and just, look for that grape, and then pick out your highlight, pick out your dark tone, your mid tone, and just try to map that in and blend in between each little time you put more color down on the paper. So now I'm going to go back into that blurry background, and I'm just going to define, add a little more darks and add a little more highlights in the background there, just to define that little area and make our grapes pop out a little bit more because they're in the forefront. So just doing a little bit of refining, and again still blending all the way through, trying to push that pastel into the paper. And I'm adding some darker tones to add some depth in the background grapes, and just really starting to push everything a little bit. So you're going to see things start to pop a little bit more as I go in and just refine all of those shadow areas. We have a lot of pastel down on the paper now, and I'm going to keep a glassine sheet under my hand on the bottom so that I'm not dragging that around and smudging that. I have a tendency to kind of move my hand around the paper, and with pastels it's so important that you don't smudge anything because it blends so easily and it's such a soft medium. You don't want to drag your hand around and start to smudge out all your details that you're just starting to put in. So I'm going to put that glassine sheet under my hand when I'm starting to work on the upper part of the drawing, and this way I'm not smudging and blurring all of that detail that's starting to go in now at this point. Here's where the magic happens. Now I'm going in and I'm really pushing all of those shadowy areas. As you can see, everything starts to come alive when you start to darken up all of those shadows and then pop your highlights. And a good key to pop that highlight is to have a dark area right next to a really light area. That usually helps to define and really pop the drawing. So you're going to see I'm just going in and I'm really pushing that color and trying to get that down, and everything starts to come alive at this stage in the game. So it's all about refining now. I'm just double checking all my values and my shadows and my darks and lights, and just double checking everything, going over and doing my last little cleanups, just trying to crisp everything out and give it a good final go over. And I want to thank you so much for joining me today. You can find a link below for all the materials I've used in today's drawing. And tune in every Thursday. I put out new tutorials every Thursday, and please leave me a comment below. I promise I will get back to each and every one of you, and I look forward to hearing from you. It always excites me when I get some comments and I can respond and know that you like my content.